prove that sunset is beautiful. I'll give you a moment. Done? Okay, pencils down. But that's exactly how things are, you know, conducted in academia. So this is not going to be a critique of proof theory or even asking what is meant by proof is meaningless. It's also going to be a scathing critique of academia. When I say proof sunset is beautiful, I can just bring a fan, this tower fan, and place it in front of you and say, there you go, proof, there's your proof right there. I don't even have to say anything. I can just do that. If you're to awaken Zen master, that would be perfectly make sense. But if you're a moron, if you're like this strict materialist, life is logical, rational, either this, either that kind of robot, then it's may not make it's going to be meaningless. And the reason why I'm making fun of these people, because these people are actually nerds and geeks in adult body. I'm not making fun of the physical appearances or their characteristics. I'm basically making fun of the personality, or the thought, or the outlook, or the thought process. It's not an ad hominem attack on the person. It's actually on their personality, and the personality is shaped by the fact that they're brainwashed and they are indoctrinated ever since they were born. They go to school, they go to college, they think college and academia, university as some kind of exalted style, like this bulwark of with the enshrine of like with it, and then the gate, the holding on to this temple of knowledge, but which is of course just a religion. So check out my other podcasts. Is mathematics a religion, or does 1 plus 1 equals 2? Is 1 plus 1 why does 1 plus 1 equals 2? So when I say I'm making fun of these people, because these people did the precisely. First of all, if I write down, if I do a simple proof that has been quote unquote what you find in Wikipedia or has been accepted on a textbook, they go, oh, obviously it follows. Well, why does it obviously follow? No, it doesn't obviously it follow. I'm not talking simple sentence like if x equals x, then you create like then x must it's a law of identity, or like obviously even take a simple basic like proof by a contradiction, or like any simple formula like y, I think square root of pi is irrational, anything. It's like the step is like if I write down 1, no, obviously it doesn't follow, it's 2. The reason why you say 2 is followed by 1, because that's what you've been parroting and spouting ever since you were born. That's what you've been brainwashing, indoctrinated ever since you were born, and you thought that is like gospel. So it doesn't obviously follow when you write 1 that the 2 comes next. It doesn't obviously follow that if A causes B, B causes C, then A must cause C. These are just someone shat out of their pants, and they just wrote it down. And another thing they say, so that this is what people do. Before I go to critique of proof theory, it's gonna be a excoriating, scathing critique of academia, and so-called. These people are not interested in truths. These people are not interested in philosophy. These people are interested in more like, see, mathematics, the way, yeah, mathematics, logic, these are conducted. Basically, these people are doing long division in one form of way or another. Whether it be combinatorics in a math Olympiad, solving quote unquote problem in group theory, in abstract algebra, solving the Rubik's cube equation, like like whatever the form of conducting a form of Rubik's cube with group theory, all this algebra is basically long division, or you solve in doing some symbolic logic manipulation, like they call meta mathematics, but these are long division. Basically, when you were a kid, it's like how good you are, how goody you are, how good of a student teacher's pet you are, how well you could follow directions. Long division is basically like that. If I could say, okay, 1,9,300,456 divided by 888,009 trillion 888 trillion 9,466, it may take you 1 hour, and you're mechanical and you do it. That doesn't that do- And you show the work. It's like how well you can follow direction, how good of a student you are, how efficient and mechanical you are. They don't test your intelligence or creativity. So essentially, that's what you bring your notebook, you write down answers, and even though it says, "Oh, I'm not here to give you any answers," but it's still you're following instruction, you're following a syllabus, you're following courses, and they say, "Oh, we allow all thinking. I'm not the teacher in front of you," but That's exactly how it's conducted. It's like you cannot question, and if you question this, they say, "Why are you even here?" And exactly why not drop out? And that's what I did. That's what a lot of millions and billions of people are doing, disenchanted and disillusioned because of this farcical, this temp church that they attend to. This because they dismiss people by saying this crackpot or like say, oh no, reputable person will take him seriously. It's all about reputation, and it's all about, that's what they're more interested about. They're not interested about finding truth, the knowledge. It's not that they can sleep at night because Gödel's, what are the implications of Gödel's incompleteness theorem, or like they're working like a madman. And it's another thing. What's the difference between someone saying gibberish and someone saying speaking coherently about, oh, I'm gonna go and get the grocery, go to Walmart, get the milk for my family, drink, attend dinner at night, then go to work tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday. I'm gonna be a good boy, be the good guy, attend, do all the work, do my 9 to 5, come back home, take the route, crack a probably a beer and relax. Who knows? And he says that that's what I'm gonna do, and some guy goes, why not kill your friends naked? The platypus. Oh, whoop, so you might say the second guy is mad because he doesn't know what the fuck he just said, or even though he could say words which are grammatically correct and even spelled right, like, oh, the big dog furiously eats the storm with a giant pullover in informal. It's like you said the latter is a madman and the first one is not, but because the first one is speaking coherently, he has a structure, but both of them are madness. Both of them are equally gibberish. From a Zen point of view, from a non-dual point of view, from an enlightened person's point of view, awakened person, both are non-dual. Why is one we ascribe meaning to something? It's like when they're both incoherent babble, if you think about it. It's not like the first guy is more rational than the second guy. So you say, oh, the second guy is crackpot. He's spouting all this. Like I remember back in the days, there was this guy called Archimedes Plutonium, and I think it was a Stack Exchange or something. These people, this seem incel type of guy, and I'm talking with a voice. Oh, could you please close down questions from Archimedes Plutonium real fast? It's like they don't want to shut people down because they crackpot, quote unquote. It's like they're ad hominem, they're mudslinging, and they're throwing just stones at them. It's like they want to do it quickly because it's not good enough for them, so that they can go back to being good little boys, and they can cross their eyes and dot their t's, and then fill in the blanks, and then do the logical analysis. And that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what proof theory is. It's like how well you can follow instructions, how well you can neatly write it down, and like balance all the equations, whether it be chemistry or whatever. So basically, it's gonna be right now. It's a critique of education. Basically, it's how well you can follow the instruction, and that's what they're doing. Whether it be combinatorics, proof theory, symbolic logic, episteme, or whatever, anything that we think a rigor, quote unquote rigor, or like cut and dried with formal logic for existential quantifiers, unified quantifiers with exotic Greek letters. We think they're doing some, oh my god, some exalted, pure, high tech, high thought, pure abstract. Fuck that. They're not doing jack shit, bro. It's just a delusion. They're deluding themselves. So now going back to, I won't rant too much on the harp on too much, but it has a place because they're dismissive of people being reputation, and then they say, look at Clay Millennium Institute Millennia. What a joke it is. They know even if someone comes with Riemann Hypothesis, okay, first of all, they're gonna look at your body of work. They're gonna look at how well they're gonna look at your character basically, from mathematical character, like productivity, how product. It's like if you fuck productivity. If I can just come up with something and people's not gonna take it publish it because they think, why is that the only thing? Because fuck yeah, it's because of money and ego. Yeah, fuck yeah, because of money and ego. It's like why don't you have any body of work before? It's like they have these primitives, almost like primitive scientific like rationale when it comes to these kind of things. Like and then this claim Institute of Mathematics, they're like, oh, it has to be published by a reputable journal for 2 years and accept, and then it's gonna be accepted. Then you're gonna give the okay. First of all, I'm gonna fuck their price, as if I care, and as if I even wrote anything. I didn't even submit anything. So, but that's why they can't, because these gatekeepers, it's as if something is accepted and which is straight out of their ass, pulling shit out of their ass. It's like something is published for 2 years, suddenly they make it a law. Some of hack comes to a solution first, and that's why you see all these people. The moment someone comes to Riemann hypothesis, the people pounce on them because they dismiss it because they don't have credentials, quote unquote, credibility, credence, like basically their philosophy, the PhD paper, like it has to be some abstract like paper, as if that gives them the ex cathedra God given right to say what is right, what is wrong, what is true, what is false. Fuck you. So that's how you're doing mathematics. And you this is the very when people say when it's like if x plus sorry it's like if 2 equals 1 plus 1, then 2 equals 2 obviously. No, it doesn't follow obviously. It's random. It's gibberish. Don't say obviously. If 1 plus 1 equals 2, then 2 plus 2 then 2 equals 2. No, it doesn't obviously follow that. That's you're parroting back something. That's something you fucking learned from your grade school. Which you didn't even bother to question as why it should be like that. It's just because that's how you've been laid down, and you're following just like religious tradition. You're following this shit. And that's not a proof. When you talk about one, like I asked, like I discussed, like when you say 1 plus 1 equals 2, what do you even mean by 1? What do you mean by the plus operator? What do you mean by this 1? What equal sign? What do you mean by 2? So I talked about semantic and symbolic, but the even concept of proof. When you say proof that sunset is beautiful, yeah, there's a layer, external layer, like what do you mean by sunset, what do you mean by beautiful, but how like what does is it an abstract sunset or a sunset in Laguna Beach or Huntington Beach, which sunset is in a painting? Yeah, that's that component, but that's not what I'm going to talk about right now. I'm going to talk about the core of proof. It's like if I bring a tower fan and just slam it down, that's a proof. Who is to say it's not? You say, but a proof should be. So you already have a presupposed conception, presupposition what a proof should be. So why the fuck do you even care then? It's like you're hell bent on knowing that there should be a schema, whether it be T schema, whether there be where you should be neat little logics or neat little logical symbols, or it could be visual proof, or it could be proof could be anything. It could be direct experience, it could be proof by, but you are more interested in proof by contradiction, or like proof, or like law induction, or like proof by those but these are not rational rationality. This is basically some people are like pulling shit out of their ass. That's what it is. Why is must something follow T schema or some hey, I don't even need to. I can just literally smear cow dung on a piece of paper and say there's a fucking proof right there, motherfucker. Why must I take a pen and pencil and write neat little symbolic notations down? Because that has been accepted. That's the majority of the mathematicians got to, by convention we do it. Who the fuck are you to decide what's gonna be your convention? Fuck you. So similarly, when you talk about that, what do you mean by proof theory? Who comes up with the Gentzen? Genson's proof theory who the fuck comes with it? Because it has been accepted by majority. If we talk about to majority, but they will say it has been accepted. You see, if you and they sip their little tiny little cocktail, which is like a teapot cocktail, children's teapot cocktail. They take little sip when you're a monocle, and the pretentiously they say, but majority of us, if you talk to any mathematician and reputable, as if that's some way to dismiss or discredit you. You're not reputable. You have no reputation. Fuck you. Is that what mathematics is all about? Is that reason, logic, philosophy all about? Reputation, a consensus, agreement, appeal to authority, like it's like how dumb could you be? That's the opposite antithesis of what logic, reason, philosophy, skepticism is. You're not a skeptic. See, you're not skeptical of your own skepticism. You're not a real. You're not even fuck Pyrrhonism. You're not even real. If by name, you're only your skeptic. You're basically half-assing it when you talk to other people who say you half-ass it. You yourself not like, just by name, Namka Vasta, as you say Bangla, you're like a skeptic. You're not a real skeptic. You're not, how do you know anything? How do you know anything? How do you come to any conclusion? How is knowledge is possible? So when you have a concept of proof, it's an abstract notion. That's how it should be conducted. Or like if something ends in a contradiction, that's not admitted. That's not a proof. It's like you already have a hellbent on of what a proof should be. Or it should be the PDF paper. It should be have a black ink against a white background. It should talk about this. There's not gonna be no interpretation. There's gonna be no opinion. It's gonna be formal, strict, cut and dry. It go like this, dry, boring. The more dry it is, the better. And there should be no room for any error, analysis, imagination, or like basically philosophizing. You're doing everything but philosophy. You're doing everything but philosophy, logic, reason, mathematics. Just because some hack prints something out and it's like even by journal of I don't know logic or analysis or mathematics, it doesn't prove jack shit why it's the ultimate truth or anything. And there is an ultimate truth. It's very fluid, it's dynamic, it's like constitution, it keeps building and building. There's addendum after addendum, it keeps expanding and expanding, and it becomes more and more complete. And but there is a limiting, there's a limit to it. There's a limit of reason, there's a limit of logic, there's a limit of computation, there's a limit of everything, basically physics, there's everything, limit of language. Even the shit I'm spouting right now is basically I'm saying whatever random shit I want to. But people act as if the truth is some kind of golden letters in the sky, as logic, going to prove this. Well, why is proof 1 plus 1 equals 2? Well, 1 plus 1 equals 2, therefore 2 equals 2. I just proved it. But they won't accept it. No, it's not good enough for me. I'm not satisfied with this whole Neil deGrasse Tyson mentality. I'm not satisfied, and I'm not calling people out names. I mean, I'm not calling people out, but maybe I should. It's not. It's not. It's. I don't know. I just do it endearingly, Neil deGrasse Tyson. But yeah, it's like nothing is good enough for him. It's like what would it, it's like you say like for if you go to the atheist, and I know he's not an atheist but some other atheist, and say, oh, what would it take for you to believe God? It's like you want to see parting of heavens and some sunlight coming, but that's not God, you idiot. God is love. God is it's almost like this sort of this cosmic reverberating this vibrational, this sort of this force. You feel it. I can define it God to be that, and you can feel it as much as you want, or you can deny him as much as you want. But doesn't mean jack shit that he exists independent of your opinion. Your opinion. I know you have your opinion, but your opinion is wrong, as Eminem would say. So when you think, so we have this idealistic, which is basically idyllic actually, conception of proof is beautiful. It has this patterns, with symbolic, with symbols, with abstract Greek letters, lambda, and we think that's when we give. That's just an illusion. There's no logic. Who is to say what logic is? Who's to say what logic is? According to your logic, smoking is good. According to my logic, smoking is bad. Or according to my logic, smoking is good. I'm talking about cigarettes, not pot. I know people be like, oh, but pot is good. I know it's like in California, it's like you can't even criticize pot. No, but I'm talking nicotine. As Keith Devlin said in End of Mathematics, and I know I use this a lot, but yeah, if you wanna, get along with your peers, smoking is perfectly good because it helps you socialize. I mean, it's an example. Everything is relative, but smoking is bad if you're a health nut, because you're. And then again, if you're for a health nut, who used to say because correlation doesn't imply causation. Or the other day I had a hiccup, and it wouldn't go away. Would go away, so I took a puff of a raw swisher, which is basically nicotine, and I relaxed. It was a muscle. It acted like a muscle relaxant. So who is to say it was bad at that time? Good and bad, these are all subjective. These are relative. Moral. Just because some guy with a Foucault or some philosophers had body of work, and some other guy expanded on it, or wrote an addendum, or like took a paragraph and wrote a thesis on it, and that has been accepted, quote unquote, published, doesn't mean jack shit, man. But that's how if people have the dichotomy, one foot on the gas, one foot on the pedal. It's like in one way they act, yeah, it's like nothing can be known, like, and on the other hand they act as if the truth exists out there. Let's talk about Clay Mathematics Institute. These people know that you can never come up with. That's why there are millions of safe, unless Poincaré one, which is by that you take a you need like a weirdo, like a madman, like a Perelman, and I see it endearingly to like fucking go f you to them. It's like I don't even want your fucking money. It's because like, and the thing is they actually accepted his proof, right? The Poincare conjecture. It is similar to that. It's like even if some guy were to come up with it, it's like there will be this, and you know why they do it? Because of the ego. I want to get that Abel Prize. I want to be the fame. It's chiefly out of ego. It's not because they're driven because lover of truth or philosophy or anything. They don't give a jack rat's ass about it. It's all about I want that pride, and it's all ego. Ego can be deceptive. Ego, even nerds, scrawny little nerds can be egoistical. I know I may just made of appearance. I said I don't want to make fun of appearance, but I'm saying is people think this if you're like this angry macho guy like Clyde Sheldon from Law, and you say you must be the bad, you'll feel a Scarface attitude. But if you're this good little guy who follows all the guy who looks with the goody with the glasses on, you must have no ego. On the contrary, the guy, the insecure guy who with the glasses, with the follows with the teacher's pay, that has that prick has more. And it's again, I'm not pointing in one particular because I haven't met people like that, but I have met many people who are like that. Who they have more ego than some guy who brazenly braggadocio like Donald Trump or someone who was very brazenly braggadocious. We all have ego. So mathematics, these logic, reason, philosophy, academia, these are not guided by a lover of knowledge and wisdom and philosophy. It's basically who the fuck can publish more, and which is basically which theory is accepted, quote unquote, more, which is peer reviewed more, which hacks it tends to be at the other end of the computer, who receives your paper, who thinks give you seal of approval, and these are base definition of religion and tradition and convention. That the thing we have been fighting against. You morons, you fucking prick face. When we say, "Oh, he's not no reputable, no one will reputable career will to consider him seriously." You idiot! Do you realize how moronic you sound when you says like that? It's like saying, "Oh, if you're black, for a slave or beggar who lives in Chad or Djibouti, we won't take you seriously." What the? This is basically the logical equivalence of your argument. It's like reputation. Who has to gets to who attends all the colloquium and the symposium and conventions and they wear their suits. That you people are the very definition in a Petit Prince. Saint Exupéry was making fun of. That's exactly how things were conducted in academia and everything. So I'm not going back to proof theory because that's what I came here for. I didn't came here to beef. I came here to party with Mr. Banks, Cassius, and Ferrari. So yeah, proof is like why should it follow? Even the notion of why should it follow is basically on someone's out of someone's ass. When you say things like even when you the point the act of putting your pen down on paper, that itself is a random shit. It's like putting shit out of your ass. Why should I prove it? Why do I have to prove it like that? Even mathematics, why do you have to prove it like that? Even logic, why do you have to prove? Because that's the very definition of logic. That's what definition entails. But how do you know? That's what the concept you have been holding on, you moron. It's like you already have pre. It's like when you say prove God exists or something like that. Well, it's like you already have a hell bent. You already have this presupposed this arrogant, stubborn notion of how a proof should be and what proof he's allowed to entail. But that's not how it works. It's like just I mentioned before in my mathematics and religion. For those who believe no explanation is necessary, for those who don't, none will suffice. It may be taught as circular, but still the point remains valid. It's like nothing will be good enough for you. If it's like I think I just heard Leo Gura, what's his podcast on Jacques Derrida, and he was saying it's almost going to a butcher and asking them to go vegan. But what these morons don't realize is that their form of belief, butcher, meat cutting is probably not the real, is not the only one. So although Liagura didn't talk about it, it's almost also you can also argue is going to the vegan and asking them to be a meat eater like a butcher, because yeah. I can also go to the hippies or the lovey-dovey new age who go, bro, dude, where's my car? Oh, to hide the pub. They also have their logic. Mathematicians have their logic. Logicians have their philosophers. Well, it's like none is superior or inferior to anyone, any kind. But the reason why I attack these people or the mathematics, philosophy, logic is because is to balance it out. It's because the very reason is because it has been exalted in some high status and esteem, and millions of people actually believe that. Oh, talk about logic. Facts don't care about your feelings. Let's talk reason. Let's talk. If you can get down, let's go down to the rigor. The boil it down to the gritty details. The regard is in the details. The rigor, the details, analysis. Oh, fluffy. We don't have no room for fluff. No room for fluff. No room for error. Purple, not purple haze. Purple prose. That's just whistle words, hand waving. What the fuck? Even the most airtight, taut, rigid, rigorous proof can be fluffy and hand waving and whistle word, full of whistle words. What is the meaning of meaning? That's a whistle word. When you say it means something, what's the equal sign? Equal sign is a whistle word. Just because it looks pristine and like cut and dried, just because two stoic symbol on paper doesn't make it less meaningless or like less whistle or wordy or hand wavy than any other shit. You moron. But it's all a mathematics, all a relationship, it's all a function. Why it has to be about relationship? Because that's how it's defined. Oh, now we're getting somewhere. What did you say? Because that's how it's defined. That's what we're. So you basically have you already admitted, like even though you didn't want to, that it's tautological. It's like we already have a notion of what mathematics should be. You don't talk about mathematics to God. You don't talk about mathematics consciousness. It's like there's no room for metaphysics, mathematics, and logic and reason. Why is that? Because you're fucking hard nosed, fucking, uh, fucking stubborn ass bitch would not accept that, that your ego would not accept that that's not the only reason. So let's get back to proof theory because I haven't harped much on it. It's mostly has been a rant. Yeah. So, but it all ties together. Like proof. What is a proof? It's like you want to. If someone does a magic trick, like sword through a torso, and you want to see that the sword goes around. There is this contraption. Unless you see that contraption, you're not satisfied, and you think there's some sort of gimmick. There's sort of that sort of contraption that should have followed some logical contraption, and which will only when you see it, your bitch ass ego will be satisfied. What the fuck? How dare you? The nerve and arrogance you have. Why do you even assume there should be a contraption? It's like unless I'm not satisfied, unless the Randy, the James Randy there. Okay, rest in peace, James Randy. Yeah, it's like his whole notion, his whole shtick was like unless he is satisfied. It's like, and what will satisfy? And of course he had his precise expectations, but maybe like, and then again, okay, let's not worry too much about him, but there are people like the skeptics like, unless you can do this like this, why does it have to be like like this? Who the fuck decides that? Unless you can do in a control, why does it have to be? It's like unless you can go in a room and say make people laugh in a control, yeah, why? But it doesn't work like that. Maybe reality doesn't work like people say about this too, woofy fluffy, forget about laugh, we're talking reason here, logic, mathematics, but it's the same shit. Who decides, who dictates what a proof of something should be? Who gets to prove, proving the provability of proof? Of course, there's something called impredicativity, but again, or tachyony, this tachyony diagram. Look at impredicative logic. It's like it deals with tautology in mathematics and even in logic. Like, what is impredicativity? Impredicativity logic, which basically is like everything is predicative. Everything is circular. Everything is like you cannot say. It's almost like you cannot take a red car. You cannot separate the redness from the car. You cannot say red. You can say car, but you cannot say red. So when you say red car, you have to acknowledge the redness of it. So all the mathematics, all those neat little patterns you see, the proofs after proofs after proofs. Well, that itself is the isness to the theorem. That itself is the property to the thing. So it's like, if I have a mouse on me, if I drop it down from a building, it's gonna break. How do you know that? The only way you can do it is by direct thing. Is by direct is doing directly. But that's not a proof that every time I drop it is gonna break. It's almost a property. It's not a proof. So basically, when you're asking for proof, you're asking for a property. Is one of the attributes. It's like when I say, okay, prove that 6 equals 2 times 3. Oh, you'll say 6 equals 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. We do it 6 times equals 2, which is 1 times 1, 1 plus 1 times, and you define that times, which is multiplication to some kind of obscure or like some kind of fucking abstract shit, which again another hack came up with it, probably for practical reason to solve another theorem of mathematics or something, or probably for real life practical reason, so Rubik's cube, like you invent a group of algebra. And again, the key word is invent. You invent shit out of your ass. But people think that just because you can do neat little this manipulation and calculation, you shift operators around. Take any textbook book on group algebra. They'll say, "Oh, we take a square, we can rotate it once, we can rotate it twice, we can rotate, and we can invert it, and we can flip it around, we can flip it around." But why do you even want to flip it around? Why do you want to invert it? And who says you can rotate it? Then we according to another theory why you cannot rotate it. Okay, but it's like it's so abstract. You don't even know what you're doing anymore. It's like suppose the word insane is on my it's funny. Insane is on my YouTube recommendation. Insane 50 hour in Libya, met local girl by Indigo Traveler. So let's talk about insane. It's like you take the word insane, and then you do some abstract manipulation to it. It's like there are two ends to it. An S is followed by A. So will S be always followed by A when you write insane when there are two N's? It's like you don't even know what you're doing anymore, dude. When you say define or prove something, it's like almost implicitly you have a presupposition of what the nature of proof should be. It's almost like this algorithm, or not an algorithm, like step by step. Why you shouldn't even follow step by step? It could be gibberish. It could be jumble of. It could be heck. I could vomit something on a piece of paper. That's your proof right there. Who used to say it should be step by step, like delineation of like this neat little logical symbols and syntax? Who the fuck decides that? But you see, if you can break down into type versus token and the form, everything can it be? It's not philosophy. When philosophers abstract, they're abstracting from something. And who is to say the way you abstract is valid, or it's not relative, or anyone can abstract anything any way like that. It's like when you say, that's why IQ problems are the dumb fuck shit ever. It's like if I say a line, a triangle, square, people say, "Oh, obviously it follows. It's a pentagram next." Why? Because line has 2 points. Points. A triangle has 3 points, three nodes, and a square has 3 points, 4 points, and a pentagram obviously follow. But no, it's just like random shitty symbols, dude. You're like assigning this notion of quantification onto it. So obviously, and this is the most basic IQ problem. And if a person fails, it doesn't mean they're stupid. I could also say, okay, line, triangle, and the square, and fucking I don't know, fucking house. Because you add them up together, you get a fucking house with a steeple. The line is the steeple, the triangle is the roof, and you get a base which is square. So it's a fucking house which has this many nodes. So it's that shape, and that's the answer. We probably, if it has, let me see, 1 2 3 4 5 6. So it says 6. So it's like it follows 1 2 or 2 3 4 6. Argue with that. Anyone can prove anything. Anyone can take a pen and scroll something and scribble. A baby can scribble something. That's the proof right there. There. My children draws better than your Picasso. That's the proof right there. It's a profound thing. My baby took some crayon sharpie and then scrawled some shit on the thing, and that's the proof. How is to say that doesn't define anything? That's the probably, who knows? Maybe the cosmic joke would be it's like some baby would like a calligraphy would splash something, and some guy master would come in and wouldn't even know. Like there's a joke. This guy was trying to do this calligraphy master was trying to create the perfect, this. And that's another thing. That's another. What do you mean by perfect? That's another relative subjective thing. And then he was away, and the student spilled the ink, and he made this splash, and the guy came and said, "Whoa, masterpiece!" So it's like that. You can denote anything to anything basically. Who gets to decide what denotes what, which denotes what, how a proof should be conducted, what is the process? So it's religion then, you dumb fuck, dumbhead. That's what convention is. Some people, but the way mathematics, oh, but it's according to accepted by convention as a matter of notation, as a matter. But the fuck, that's what we've been fighting all along, you fuck face. I think that's enough at hominem. I know people don't like when you do that. Why? Why? Why don't you? That's your problem. I don't have to deal with your problem. And fuck it if you don't like it. Hit the dislike button and leave. Or even put your disagreement in a rant mode in the comment. That's gonna help out the engagement. Thank you for listening, everyone.